This is Florida Natural Farming at Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my rare aroids, and then go look at some fruiting KoiMuk trees that were flowering. Kwai Muk, KoiMuk, Kwai Muk. It's my favorite fruit, however you say it. And we grow everything organically, and I've been on this quest to figure out why and how to grow better, and I'm obsessed with it, and I feel like these aroids have helped me understand what's going on more. I want to say thank you to Paul from Fruitful Trees and all my new subscribers that he sent over. Welcome to the channel, and if you care about growing organically and trying to help Florida, that's kind of what I talk about. Soil health, growing stuff in biodynamic compost, which is how we grow all these rare aroids. It might not be the cleanest medium to grow your plants indoors in your house plants, but I'm sure it would be a lot healthier to get a sterilized organic potting soil than growing stuff in a hydroponic system in your house. People don't understand that all these slow release fertilizers are made from sewage sludge, most of them. More than 90%, I'm sure. And they contain PFASs, which are not good chemicals that stay in your body for life. They're the chemicals that are in like Teflon, non-stick pans that they banned, and the stuff that they figured out they're putting on like fast food wrappers to keep the grease from sticking to the stuff. And they know that they're not good for your health, and they're in fertilizer. And if you're giving them to your plants, slow release fertilizers to your plants you're eating, you're consuming them, and they're not regulated. So it's kind of a real problem, and people aren't aware of it. And all the pollution goes into the water. So all these PFAs either go in the water or go in the air. So if you're growing them, if you have a hydroponic system in your house, chances are they're in the air. Just trying to make people aware of what's actually they're doing to themselves. And plants are meant to grow naturally. That's the only way to have a healthy ecosystem that they create for yourself and for your plant's health. So I got a new Anthurium. These are all Anthuriums on this table. I'm kind of obsessed with Anthuriums. I like some a whole lot. And my newest one was like top of my wish list plants. My wish list plants are pretty much filled, thank God. And I just have run out of space, and I got the ones I want. So this is it. Came yesterday. It looks great from Equigenera. Looks like it's got a new growth point starting, and it's in our biodynamic compost. So I got it last night and put it right in here. Put a couple cups of water in there, rainwater, the biodynamic corn in it, and this is the organic compost that we make here that's full of life. That's the difference between conventional farming and natural farming. Natural farming relies on life to create the atmosphere for the plant to prosper in. And in turn, downstream effects are our atmosphere that we're creating, that they created for us. natural systems rely on life. So life is the nutrients. Life and dead life is the nutrients that all life needs to continue. And for some reason, the plant growers got hijacked by the chemical companies and were told that they could grow it better, cheaper, faster. Yeah, until everyone starts getting sick and you've destroyed the planet. It's so complicated, this whole plant growing system that nature has perfected. So complicated. And they're finally figuring out that, yeah, you can feed the plants chemicals and destroy all the life in the soil, but your plant is not going to be able to survive without succumbing to pressure or disease pressure, because the life in the soil is responsible for regulating the plant's proper uptake of nutrients for optimal health. Basically, the fungi in the soil regulate the water and nutrients that plants need. But our chemical systems destroy that. So your plant just uptakes nutrients. So the life-giving life that makes plants able to counter changes in their environment, cold weather, wind, sun, rain, drought, are not in the conventional grow systems like hydroponic. So you have to keep your plant in a greenhouse or in a tent in your house, because it can't handle any changes to its environment because of the unnatural growing conditions it's growing in. It's just, we need all the life. That's what it comes down to. And life are nutrients. And the reason why our soils are being depleted is because we're killing all the life in them. They thought they could replace the life with chemicals. The life-giving chemicals with chemicals that they create. The life-giving chemicals contain life, the natural chemicals. Yes, we need chemicals to grow food, but they're volatile organic compounds, or PFASs. So the thing that people are so afraid of, the manure, is actually repackaged as slowly released fertilizer after they've killed all the life and counted all the nutrients they feel the plant needs. Not what the plant needs, but what they feel the plant needs. So 9, 5, 3, or you get it. And just complete disregard of all life. I know that these anthuriums love growing with mushrooms. And I see a sort of fungal biofilm, that white stuff on the leaves of this Anthurium bakerii, with all those mushrooms growing around it. Those mushrooms make sure that the soil stays aerated and that the plant gets the exact amount of water that it needs. When it's dry and windy, like it has been here. I don't worry about humidity. These things are outside. Nature doesn't just constantly stay perfect temperature and humidity. It's an ever-changing environment. The only way to protect your plants is with a healthy soil, a living soil, and that's how you create a healthy living environment for humankind. So I haven't been able to watch the videos by Paul that he did here. I don't know, my heart was like, it wanted to stop when I turned it on. And then I read one of the comments, and I don't know, they were like, strange. I don't know, they involve money, and why, you know, I started off poor and made my own money. I flipped houses for 30 years, and I'm an old person now, so it took a while to build the wealth. But yes, I'm rich, but I feel rich because of my garden. And I bought most of these plants before prices skyrocketed. And we're a farm, so we pay wholesale prices. Paid. People say they can't deal with this because they need a lawn for their kids. Well, there's been kids here and none of them have ever been bored. There's plenty to do on a 10-acre farm. It all doesn't have to be lawn. And around here, I don't see kids playing outside. I don't see kids riding on bikes down the streets. I don't see kids on skateboards. It's all gray people around here. You know what I mean by that. Florida's full of old people. You can go to the beach around here, gorgeous day, and not have anybody on the beach, because old people don't go to the beach. There's just not a lot of kids. There's no kids around here. I'm trying to think. I think there was a baby born. But they're not adjacent to this place. There's just not a lot of kids. And I don't know, it's a pretty healthy spot to be. Don't have to worry about any insecticides that people have used to kill their don't be eating my little rabbits, please, Shelley. To kill their bugs. Don't need to worry about any PFASs from slow release fertilizer because we've never used it. And don't have to worry about E. coli from the manure used because we manage our cows holistically. We try to look at the whole system rather than just part by part. And the conventional way, they just take it apart part by part. So they will find a fungus because of on their tree because of the practice they've implemented, which probably is due to the combination of too much nitrogen and phosphorus being applied at the same time, or in the groundwater that the plant is getting its nutrients from all the septics. And plants that have that succumb to bad pathogenic fungi. I knew all those slow release fertilizers were bad. I just It just didn't make sense, everyone using them. And they're full of PFASs. Like, I mean, I keep talking about this stuff because I just don't see it fixing. So I just feel I have to keep talking about it and trying to make people understand that their decisions to enrich chemical companies are unnecessary and killing Florida and people, environments. If the chemicals that people applied would stay in their environment, I wouldn't have an issue with them. But when they apply them, the downstream effects of insecticides and herbicides adrift, kill all the life. And in essence, create soils, nutrient-less soils. Soils with less nutrients. I kind of figured it out here. The people don't like these weeds. That's why I'm like growing all these aroids and stuff, because the paths will be lined with the riches that plants produce when they grow. The aroids would be like $60 a foot. That's how I look at it. It'll look good. You won't be able to see all this manure and weeds that people despise. They'll still be there, but they'll also be embellished with super expensive rare aroids and torch ginger and stuff like that. Not stuff that I had to go out and buy, but stuff that I grow and propagate, because that's what I do. I buy one and propagate it. Buy one and propagate it. So here's our grafted KoiMuk tree from Excalibur. And you can clearly see it's grafted down there. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. Yeah, right there, right at the base. And this was a tiny little tree, like this big, like, 8 inches, grafted tree, size of a pencil. And it had been flowering for 3 years, and this is a severe drought period right now, and this thing's flowering. But these KoiMuks, they continuously flower for several months. They just keep putting out flowers. So these brown ones probably aren't going to grow into fruit, but that one green one there might. But yeah, if I watered this, it could probably hold some more fruit right now, but I know that it's going to hold the fruit as soon as the rains start, and I think they're getting ready to start. They usually come about this time. The groundwater here is so high that it's crazy to think that anybody has to water trees here in Florida. I mean, it's just... build the soils with the fungi in them, and the fungi will colonize your tree roots and get your tree water, because the fungi is getting its carbon from the tree roots. There's no talk about fungi in Florida soils, and it's just for our tree crops, it's like a major thing. a major component of our farm. It's like, it's right up there with manure, I know that. And I never could get any information on it here in Florida, and they just don't discuss it. So the reason this weedy look is like this, you know, it's a farm here, it's not a playground. Is the single hardest thing is to keep carbon in the soil. That's why when I hear people have issues with too much compost, they used to tell you don't apply compost to mangoes. It's just ludicrous, because you can continuously apply compost, but if you had it all exposed here, the compost would quickly disappear after one season, even if it was a huge amount. I'm not talking about feet deep, I'm talking about inches. Yeah, if you dumped truckloads of compost, you would still have some, and it would be stagnant and nasty underneath. But if you do it in more natural amounts, that's why I don't do huge, giant, unnatural compost piles. I do small, tiny compost piles, because the large, giant compost piles are unnatural. It's how you wind up with toxic sewage sludge in waterways and stuff. Too much of one thing is going to ruin everything. So the mangoes, we got a little crop on the first go around, and then we have some still on there, but not a lot. And then a small crop of little ones. Now this tree has only been in the ground. Most of our trees, the majority of our trees, have only been in the ground 2 years. So this is only a 2-year tree from 3 gallon. All our trees were 3 gallon or seeds. I'm slowly trying to grow seeds, but I have to compete with the fruit sales to get my seeds. So thankfully there's some areas that I can't sell organic fruit from, so I can use those seeds because of my neighbor's indiscriminate use of glyphosate that drifts into our system. Glyphosate kills natural systems. You don't want to use any chemicals, any herbicides, any insecticides, any copper, any nutrient you think that you need to apply. If you're looking at it as a nutrient, alone is probably going to be applied in the wrong amount, which has the ability to throw your whole system out of balance. It's like if we just drank protein shakes and that's it. I don't know. It's worse than that. It's like, I don't know, it's just bizarre that we were even hoodwinked into disregarding the importance of growing plants in healthy conditions with something other than pollution. Go look at this other Kwai Muk tree. And then I'm gonna go get some Garcinia gardneriana fruit, because I know that has fruit. So somebody wanted to buy some seeds, but I only like to sell fresh seeds. I'm not selling seeds that are a year old. It has to be the same season the fruit was picked for me. Sooner the riper, the fresher, the better. I'm not gonna sell year-old seeds. Maybe I would do it with sugar apples and anemones, but not with the Garcinias, and I probably wouldn't do it. I don't want to get into that where people not have good results. So somebody, a subscriber, wanted to know if I had seeds and where do I get my seeds. And I told him I've gotten a lot of my seeds from Fruit Lovers Nursery in Hawaii. And wanted to know why I like to grow stuff from seed. And it's because they've found that the seeds need to be inoculated, not sterilized. So inoculated with like compost. There's some biological growers that I'm not going to mention that do YouTube channels and try to move the conversation forward for regenerative farming, but that come up with their own products. But you don't need to buy any products unless you don't have a yard or you don't have animals, because everyone can make compost and you don't need a lot. So I inoculate my seeds in compost. I don't sterilize my seeds. My seeds still have like old fruit and stuff. For some reason, the growing conditions that they advise people to do is to sterilize the seed and sterilize the soil, which is the opposite of what you want. I'm still shocked that people think that trees, grass, and weeds compete with their fruit trees. I've experimented enough on seed-grown trees to know that if you plant the seed in an area with a lot of good weeds, like Caesar weed, or next to this live oak tree, or next to some good weedy patch, your tree is going to grow and survive. But if you plant it in a weedless, plantless, sandy strip and then just dump wood chips around it, it's probably not going to survive. Unless you like water it and start dumping slow release fertilizer on it. Because all that life, all those nutrients, and all the life that enables your tree to uptake nutrients live in the roots of a diversity of plants. Life diversity is nutrient. And nutrient enzymes which are catalysts for nutrient cycles. It's in the life. We cannot continue to just think that we know what nutrients to apply while we're decimating the soils that the plants are growing in. Guaranteed, if you're spraying copper or applying copper because you think your plants are low on copper, you're killing a lot of the life, and it could take years to ever get it back. If you don't have a bunch of weeds and grass. Now, this is that other KoiMuk tree. I'm still on my soil health rant, life rant. So I started doing these videos because I wanted people to see that we don't have to do all that. That in Florida, stuff grows very easily. We're blessed to have a region on this planet that is the most conducive for biological farming. They're doing a good job at killing a lot of the life. The life-giving life. Life begets life. With their chemicals, you know, trying to kill one bug and taking out all of them. Trying to kill one fungus and taking out all of it. trying to kill one bacteria and taking out all of it. All of it is nutrients, and we need all of it. That's what it comes down to. I'm really just ashamed as us as humans to think that this is what our legacy is in Florida. But they'll gaslight the person trying to find a solution, because they think that liking rabbits and squirrels and weeds that help bugs and bring life is weak and unsightly and harbors snakes. Yeah, we need the snakes too, people. If you provide the home, they'll stay off your mowed areas. I do have a path that goes to the front to the back, and I could mow a soccer-sized field in my cow pastures in a couple hours with my tractor. But I don't like using my tractor, and why would I destroy my soil? This is a farm. If I wanted to have a wedding though, or something like that, people want to throw big rave parties on a tropical fruit farm, so DJs like to come look at this place. No interest really in tropical fruit plants. So this is a cutting I did of Philodendron Chironiae, and this is the one leaf it had. It looks like it's very dry. It's, you know, I'd never given it any water. It's like a 5-week-old cutting, but it's got this new leaf, and it's got a new stem that came out, and it's got another new leaf coming out. And I just put a piece of manure there. Supposedly we're getting rain today. We really, really, really need it. Really need it bad. People want to come here, but I really just like to do one-on-one with people, or one-on-two. I don't like to do large tours of groups of people, because it seems like only one's interested in it and the other 4 are just there for the good time. And it's distracting to me when I'm trying to talk about what I do here and why, and all the trees, because there's a lot of trees here. I mean, all this is a Talicia fluorescei. I mean, there's so much stuff here. It's like a giant longan. There's citrus right there. There's just so many. We have 100 Luke's Garcinias. I plant the stuff from seed because it's cheap. So I can plant lots and I don't have to buy any seeds. See this little finger lime tree? It's getting pretty big. No water, cacao. It's just, yeah, not everything is uniform in size and all big giant trees, because this is my yard. This is my Eden I'm trying to create and trying to help Florida. This is the African peach, which is nothing like a peach. It's like some giant strawberry. Look at the color of that. Doesn't look like it's suffering any water stress, but what helps with water stress is if you have a small pile of compost next to your tree. All the brown that you see during times of drought, as it goes into the atmosphere, it releases water into the soil. So it's a good source of water near the surface. Just not a huge giant pile, a small pile that can assimilate into the regular soil around it, but provides nutrients and water to the trees. It's my daily, I do it daily. People like, oh, do you apply manure daily? Well, animals crap daily, so it made sense to me to apply it daily. So I clean out my barn and I put my manure in 50 pile mounds, and then sometimes I grow vegetables on it, and it disappears rather quickly. It becomes soil or potting soil. You can't put it near fruiting trees if you're organic and sell the fruit from that tree, unless you wait 4 months. But none of these trees I know that I've been showing you are even ready to produce fruit. So I don't have to worry about it, thank God, because fruit is kind of a stressful thing for me, selling fruit. It's just, I'm just not into it. I'm gonna eventually have to get into it, but it's just, it's stressful. So here's our fruiting Garcinia gardneriana, and it's got a lot of fruit on it. It's like, but I'm so anal about it that I've only been able to pluck one fruit a day. So it's not like I have tons of this for sale. The MB, I will. MB produces a lot of fruit here, so I'm able to sell that, but that's like a month away, I think, month or two. It's a very good fruit. The shell on the gardneriana is horrible. Tastes like lemon cotton candy. It's simply delicious. The more I eat of something, the more I like it. Yeah, there's a cha-cha tree growing with sugar cane. Growing with weeds. It's all about the soil here. Everywhere I walk, I take the same path. I don't walk on any of this. So this is not like some playground. This is trying to turn the soil surface into a virgin forest, basically. This area has been a very bad area of compaction. This was a lawn for 60 years, 55 years. A lawn and big oak trees that were slowly dying. But they've since seemed to have gotten healthier. Growing like Garcinia trees at the base of something like this will guarantee it lives. Putting it at the base of something like that will guarantee it lives. So one seed. I noticed a lot of our mango seedlings that I thought had died are not dead. So that's good. Died from the freeze. You know, that freeze got some of our mango trees, I think like 30, 35 of them. So here's the seed, and I'm gonna plant it right at the base of this Caesar weed. Try to grab a handful of the soil here. It's kind of hard because it's like been walked on, and can't really get a good handful, but you can see the soil aggregates rolling around in there. There. because this, you know, was white sand. So that's what we're trying to accomplish, is to get the aggregation to happen. It's like mineralized carbon. So you see how easily it crushes into like sand and silt? That's why when you drive on stuff to mow, or it rains on lawn, it never is able to form. It gets crushed. Soil gets compacted, and all the action happens on the soil surface. So if your orchard floor is like covered with mowed lawn, or like big pile of wood chips, the aggregation can't really happen. It happens because of the fungi and the plant roots. Some plants make better they're more inclined to make mineralized soil aggregates, so to become a mineralized soil. And those plants are the aroids because of their high concentration of calcium oxalate crystals. Yeah, this looks ugly to people. Yeah, it kind of looks ugly to me, but I'm seeing all these bugs and dragonflies and butterflies here. I know as soon as it rains, it's all that brown is going to turn into lush green. I won't even be able to see it. But at this time of year, because of the freeze, all that brown is potential moisture. When it oxidizes, it released water. It will release water. So it is a source of water, brown. This is a 2-year-old orange sherbet mango that this tree just produces so much fruit. It produced so much fruit last year, and it's produced so much fruit this year. Of course, these little fruits are going to drop off. I'm not going to remove any fruit this year. Last year I did, and I don't think it's necessary, but I felt it was necessary last year for some reason. That's about how far along most of our mangoes are, like this size. So I got a few months to go. Hopefully they'll make it. This is a peach cobbler that I thought it had mangoes on it, but I guess they all dropped. But our trees, some of them are starting to bloom again. So I don't know if this is a tree that's only 2 years in the ground from a 3-gallon. It's 12 feet tall, 10 feet tall easily. From a tiny little 3-gallon. I don't buy big expensive trees. I never have. One time I paid $200 for my biggest achacha tree. I think that's the most expensive tropical fruit tree I ever bought. Yeah, when you have this nasty orchard floor that, you know, the undisturbed, unwalked on, managed for soil health, the orchard floor managed for soil health, small amounts of organic compost and manures. It is full of life, and it protects the sand. It's kind of like the sand dunes at the beach. It took us a while, but we learned that the sand dunes at the beach need to be left alone. And that's kind of the same thing. Not kind of the same thing, it is the same thing. We're all sand here, we're all just a sand dune. This hideous weed-strewn orchard floor is our insectaria, which for organic certification you have to have a dedicated area to wildlife. So that satisfies that requirement by the organic certifiers. I'm going to keep my organic certification, but I'm not going to pursue any of the other certifications. This is the old mangoes that got fried from the cold, and everyone's always worried about the beetles coming for the dead mango wood, but as you can see, they never came for our dead mango wood. The fungi are in there. The beetles are attacking your trees because the chemicals you use, the unnatural growing conditions. That's what does it. And I'm sure if I applied too much nitrogen and phosphorus in an organic form, they would attack my stuff too. But I only apply a small amounts in small piles so that nature can process it and distribute it to the life that needs it. Citrus, such an issue here in Florida. Why? We grow citrus from seed, organic seeds, and this is a 3-year-old seed-grown citrus that's covered with fruit. Lemon trees. This is from one of our trees that we fruited at a different location, growing the same way. Yeah, the leaves, some of them get yellow, but these will drop off, and that's how it looks when there's not getting any rain. It's like, and it's in full sun. The citrus in shade doesn't have that issue. Black sapote. We still have fruit on the trees. And plenty of flowers. Not feeling the black sapote for some reason. Kind of a little bored with the tropical fruit. I'm kind of jaded. Anyway, this is Florida Natural Farming, Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm.